In the top right-hand side, we are going to start today's little replay cast off with a series from the HomeStory Cup Korean Qualifier number 1. This was a PvT I really wanted to catch, but Rotty actually casted this one on his stream, so I casted another part of the bracket, and just grabbed these replays to cast another time, aka right now. In the top right, our blue Protoss player is herO. In the bottom left, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion, ByuN. Sorry guys, just had to reply to someone very quickly, just bad timing on a message. As we have got this PvT kicking off and getting going. And let's see what's going to happen in this one. ByuN and herO play a lot in these in ESL Open Cups and stuff. And just a reminder, this is for HomeStory Cup qualifiers. So HomeStory Cup will happen in July. That's very exciting in the first place. So HomeStory Cup will happen in July. Going to be very exciting, very intrigued to see how it's going to be. It's a partnered EPT event now, fully sponsored travel for the players that qualify, thanks to Shopify. So that is just amazing. Obviously, this is a best of 3, and this was from the winner bracket, not a qualifying match or anything, just a winner bracket match, and let's see how this TVP turns out. Like I say, that's the plan. So just get this up and rolling, and again, see what the two will get up to here. Early is going to be a fast expansion from ByuN. What I was about to say is that these two play in a lot of like online cups, a lot of open cups and stuff like that on a very regular basis. I mean, these two play really all of the time against each other, especially lately. They've been meeting up in a lot of the finals and semi-finals of ESL Open Cup careers. That's been really cool to watch. I've actually caught a couple of those from replays. Korea isn't a region I typically watch on my own accord, simply for the fact that it's at a bad time for me, but I have had some of the replays set my way recently, and they've been very fun to spectate and enjoy, so yeah, I've been really enjoying these two kind of going at it, and they really do bring some fun, aggressive styles to the matchup. ByuN's always been an aggressive player, as has herO, so going up against each other, I mean, no surprises that we see that kind of come out between the two of them, so very fun to watch, and we start on Hardwire for this best of 3, so we'll see what is going to go down. Step just going to be shading down to the bottom left. Step comes over, a couple Marines coming in. I'm just going to be seeing the SCV going to be taking some damage, and just going to be seeing the Adept shading out through to the center of the map as well. So away they go, and getting underway. So Deb gets pushed around a little bit. I'm just going to be seeing our Marines sat in the natural expansion. Cyclone on the way up. Obviously, pretty good defensive, like anti-Stargate play. It is just a single Oracle, but if you can push back this Oracle very easily, it does open up options for you going out onto the map. The chance to actually go across the map, get aggressive, all that wonderful stuff. So it definitely gives you some options there. Going to see our Blink upgrade is being researched. Impact on the way up, an extra barracks coming through, and a few extra Marines and so on continuing in as well. So all of that being established here. Just again, fast bio play from ByuN. Really does set him up already to be aggressive, successful. Like I say, he likes being out on the map. He likes getting up in his opponent's face, and this style of play will allow him to do exactly that. Just going to see our tech lab. Sorry, it's a reactor coming up on the factory. That will make way then for the starport potentially to nab, and we will see if that becomes the plan. Get the starport in there, get those first couple of medevacs out, and then start going from there. Definitely a possibility. Definitely something that can work very well, as you have the Upgrades coming through from both sides. I guess ByuN won't really get aggressive before Blink is finished up here, so herO is going to get away with going Oracle into Blink without any issues. And then on ByuN's side of things, he's just going to start combating +1, and that's really going to be the point in this game where he starts getting a lot of damage done, right? So just setting up towards that for the moment. As he has Stalkers and our Oracle moving out down to the bottom of the map. herO, again, does love his aggression. He's going to utilize this Oracle to provide high ground vision for these Stalkers to potentially jump up here. Stim is done at least. That's really important because it means that you can't lose Stim, and yeah, having combat shield denied is annoying, but it's nowhere near as valuable as Stim when Stim gets denied, right? So I feel like that leaves us in a reasonable position right now. We're just going to be seeing our Stalkers moving back and away at the moment. Cyclone does get a little lock on, and it's going to be targeting through those Stalkers at the moment, pushing them back with the Marines aiding them. herO is not going to be able to get too much else done. Now he is on his way into charge, getting that established, getting ready for that next stage of this game where you're just going to warp in a ton of gateway units. You know, a ton of gateway units, a lot of pressure, and just really go from there. As the Cyclone nearly gets the Oracle, that Stasis Ward is huge, catches everything, my goodness. You couldn't really ask for much more than that, could you? That was a gigantic, and I really mean gigantic, Stasis Ward there. And that gives, look at what herO does. He just walks straight into the natural. You might argue he'll potentially end up surrounded here, but he will get himself a medevac. Not quite two, because that's actually going to be okay for herO, because he is not really got a way out, because the units will come back in from the top side now. Cyclones included. What do we do? Do we recall out of here? ByuN's going to get a lot of damage. Geez, this was... it seemed like such a cool idea out of herO, but boy, did it backfire quickly. That was not really my expectation when this all started out, I'll tell you guys that much. A little bit surprised that it went this way, as these Stalkers do get chased away. They do get pushed out of here. And, well, I mean, every single Stalker going down almost. That's huge because, obviously, in this game, you know, we're playing a setup where the Stalkers are vital. You know, you need the Stalkers to shoot down medevacs and to pose a threat in the skies, shut down drop play. Replacing Stalkers is expensive, so even if you just want to mass gateway units, massing gateway units is much tougher when you don't have the Stalkers. You need the Stalkers and the Zealots to work in tandem, and losing a big chunk of those Stalkers, like I say, is extremely difficult to replace, so definitely a bit problematic here. We'll see if it can be redeemed from herO, see if he can bring himself back into this. For the moment, though, ByuN wanders a medevac up to the top of the map. Temple Archives and Robo Facility continue to come on through as well. So that's going to be coming on in. And with all of that tech, maybe this is ByuN's opening. Killed a lot of Stalkers. His opponent's teching heavily anyways. Maybe this is a chance for ByuN to possibly get some damage done. Now just going to Widowmine drop and then boost the medevac into these Stalkers, I believe. I don't think anything very exciting happened there. That was just not really kind of how things were meant to go, unfortunately. There's the extra few units warping in defensively. There's a little counterattack on ByuN's third base. Don't believe that's too exciting. Just a single Zealot or so trying to delay it, but ByuN can deal with that without issue. And in the end, he doesn't push forward with the rest of this bio. I did feel like that was maybe an opening, at least one way you can kind of have a look and say, oh yeah, maybe there's something to be done in all of this, but well, it didn't happen. Oh, the end of the world day didn't happen. Just one of those things to be watching out for, as we do have the command center on the way up, going to be finishing in just a few moments. So that will be on the third location, and yeah, as that comes through, we'll also be having ourselves... Well, what else have we got going on here? I mean, we got Robo Bay, Robo Facility continuing through. Forge is starting as well. The +1 armor upgrade's about halfway done. All of this bio moving around, trying to see just what is happening, and gathering up out the front of the natural as well. Trying to see what else is going on as that Prism loads up a few of those Zealots. Going to take those out across the map. Away they will fly. And the War Prism heading across to the far left. Out down to the south. Away it goes. I mean, the Prism obviously provides some nice counterattacking from herO, and I gotta say, it's been kind of inactive, no, from ByuN. He was way more passive than I thought he was going to be in this game. just because ByuN is one of those players that is typically very aggressive, right? You know, he is someone that will go up in the face. He will maybe attack sometimes when he's not meant to. This definitely felt like a chance and a time for him to attack, and then he just didn't really do anything with it. So, yeah, kind of a little bit intriguing, but like I say, far from the end of the world, and it will just allow us to see a bit of a later game. herO's being allowed up into those Colossi, and ByuN is taken up into his Ghost. He doesn't have a Viking count yet, so going to play the Ghost initially. That's okay, because it's usually tough for the pros to get super aggressive with the Colossus immediately, so... But now I'm kind of fine with this, though. Still kind of got eyes open to see just how it turns out. Actually do scan out an Observer. And ByuN forgot his +2 attack upgrade here, which is obviously a little bit painful as well. +2 attack is generally something you kind of like to keep under your belt and kind of keep going your way and stuff, so... a little sad not to see that. Fire Force coming through, chasing those Zealots away. It's going to knock down the rocks, and ByuN just going to keep on pulling back. Zealot, Stalker, Colossus continuing forward now, and a couple of these Widow Mines will begin to line up and go off on a chunk of Zealots already. More Zealots warping into the main base, just going to come on through. A couple of Ghosts going to line up some shots as well. A lot of SCVs starting to die. I mean, the Ghost defense in the main is okay for a little while, but it doesn't last forever. Definitely makes this a little bit awkward as yeah, more units are needed, and herO is trying to just steamroll ByuN. The harassment in the main has ByuN all split apart. I said it was kind of tough to get aggressive with these Colossi, but he got himself across the map without fear. The Ghosts weren't in a good position to catch like amazing EMPs, and ByuN actually takes a stellar fight, to be fair. I mean, a way better fight than I think you should have expected at first. So actually ByuN does make something out of it, but even then, there's just so many Zealots around, and that's going to be the remaining problem. herO did find a way to be aggressive, did pretty well with that aggression. Just doesn't really necessarily right now. I mean, doesn't end the game, but is absolutely in a position to kind of just walk away with this and come out on top at the end of it all. So, looking pretty reasonable. ByuN just lost too many SCVs for sure. If he didn't lose as many SCVs, this might not have been anywhere near as bad, but yeah, with all those SCV losses, it's tough to imagine you get back into this game easily. As unfortunate as that may be. We grab this Disruptor. Vikings will try and help. There's nothing for them to really shoot down right now. Fire Force will struggle to get much done here when the Disruptors are obviously out and having such a good time. Gonna be tough for them to really find much of anything, as you see the Nexus is on the way up over on this side, so going forward with that at the moment. It was just rebuild, and the problem is ByuN's rebuild just comes in so slowly in comparison because of the fact it's that all of those SCV losses have really added up. So unfortunately, it kind of feels like this might just be herO. Actually, if he gets this base, he didn't target fire the base. He could have had that orbital. No, Disruptor shots kind of looming to be amazing, right? That just feels like we're a second away from seeing one of these just be way too freaking good. herO is just gonna get the GGs. Really, again, ByuN just taking too much damage almost out of nowhere, and that is pretty much going to be how this game ends. herO with a 1-0 lead on the end of this best of 3 game 1. Top left-hand side is going to be the Blue Protoss player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is herO. Up against the Red Terran from the Shopify Rebellion in the bottom right-hand corner, this is ByuN. So here gets a 1-0 lead. Honestly, really felt like the Stalker loss was meant to be bigger for herO, and then ByuN just didn't capitalize on that at all. So, yeah, it wasn't really too... Honestly, I don't think it was ByuN's best game, because it felt like ByuN didn't do anything, right? Like, he had a pretty cool win at one point, but that was really about it. Like, he had one win, which should have been so much more, but then just wasn't, so... Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was just a bit of a weird one. I'll see how he does in this game number 2. Berlingrad, definitely a Terran-y kind of map. Maybe a map he feels more comfortable running across and working on. So, let's see what happens here in the next few moments as we get this whole party started. In this HomeStory Cup qualifier, again, if you missed this qualifier live, or you're wondering when the others are, there's another Korean qualifier tomorrow, but tomorrow I do have to take Ellie to the groomers as it starts, pretty much. So it's likely we end up catching the replays and maybe casting it later. It depends how long Ellie is at the groomers. I might be able to come back and cast a little bit of it live, like the latter half of it or something. So there's a possibility that that's the case, something along those lines. Yeah, I mean, just hard to say for sure without the day playing out, you know. So tomorrow will be a bit shaky, but otherwise we will be covering the rest of the HomeStory Cup qualifiers as best as we can over the next couple of weeks. EU qualifiers on Tuesday evenings in European time, Korean qualifier tomorrow, Friday, as well as I believe Sunday maybe, or Saturday. I'm not sure when the next Korean one is. Maybe it's next week. It's at some point, though. There is more Korean qualifiers to come as well, 2 more, and 4 players qualify from each. So that's obviously pretty important to note, because that's actually a good amount of players that will get to qualify from the Korean region here for the event. Factory lifts off is going to move on over and drop down onto a reactor, so that's going to be our point of interest for the moment. There is a proxied starport on the west side of the map, so ByuN looking to get damage done early. We say he likes to play aggressively. This is a perfect example of that. Again, I want to kind of know what the actual recent results between these guys are. To me, they've been traded matches, but I'd love to know exactly, but I don't want to look it up because I don't want to kind of spoil myself for the result of this. And while I kind of roughly know the result, I don't want to see like the scoreline or anything. So I was like, I'm not going to look it up just to be a little bit safe, you know. So yeah, just to spoil it for myself. Aliens out through the middle of the map, just going to be seeing the Phoenix produce an extra stalkers in production. Phoenix going to be popping out on the Stargate in just a couple of moments. That is going to be herO with multiple Phoenix on the way. Problem is, multiple Phoenix doesn't shut down this initial drop as the 3 Hellions get by. The 1 Hellion in the front, yeah, kind of got misrallied. Was probably meant to be in this party, huh? That's annoying because now you lift 1 Hellion and you immediately take away 1-shot potential. That's a little bit of a mistake from ByuN, and now only 4 workers killed. Let's see if he gets any more in the main, though that feels like it'll be probably a mistake from herO if he lets it happen. Oh, we actually get maybe 2 more in the natural, though. Okay, this turns into 6, which is more respectable. It's more, you know, more allowable for kind of, you know, having, you know, all of this having gone down, so not as crazy here. Just going to be seeing our 6 probes. Yeah, like I say, it's good, decent damage. Equal worker count is typically very good for a Terran player. Just feel like you're sometimes looking for a bit more, especially now as the CC is a bit later than usual as well. It feels like here, herO's going to bounce back in the worker count and get back to the lead he's meant to be on, because ByuN just doesn't have double SCV production. He starts to float the CC down, he starts to morph in the orbital. Those things cost him the extra seconds of SCV production. His starport has to fly home, so you can't build an additional unit out of that for a while. All of these things kind of make it that 6 probes killed this time around isn't actually like super incredible. It's okay. I don't think ByuN's necessarily behind because he only killed 6. I don't think herO's super far ahead because he just killed 6. It just sort of feels alright. It feels like ByuN probably wanted a bit more. And yeah. I wonder how different it would have looked if the 4th Hellion was on the high ground already. Wonder how cool that would have been. So you do drop a Nexus down the left side, so 3rd base will begin to come online. Gonna see some extra add-ons being built from ByuN, and these few Phoenix of herO try and put some pressure on. Keep an eye on what ByuN is building, roughly get a read of, you know, how aggressive are we going to be here? Are we committing into a lot of units? Are we committing into just a few units? What in general is our current plan of action? That's obviously pretty good to know, so working toward that. Going to be seeing extra gateways coming through. Blink on the way up. These few Marines already starting to move onto the map. Steam Combat Shield not going to be here for at least a little bit, though. So, yeah, I mean, herO's not immediately in trouble, but let's see when ByuN does get aggressive what herO's going to have. He should have Blink by then. He's not going to have +1s. I think ByuN will have a little bit of an upgrade advantage at some stage of this. So that should be, you know, that should be pretty nice. That definitely goes a reasonable kind of part of the way here. Let's continue to run through the center of the map. Cyclones, Widow Mines, all continuing to cross right there and just going to be heading to the top left corner. In they go as the charge, the +1 attack, all of that coming in at the moment. Get those upgrades a rolling here. Obviously, again, with those, herO should feel a lot more confident in this game. As that +1 attack upgrade is continuing in production from ByuN. herO's actually going to hallucinate a Colossus, try and scare ByuN in the middle of the map, but 2 Widow Mines are going to connect unless he blinks backwards, and he doesn't. And ByuN is like, hello! He's just going to stim at this army. I don't think he believes in that Colossus at all. He's going to lift up a little bit now. His army actually still a little bit hurting from the stim. The Medivacs didn't stop to heal. The Phoenix are pushed away on the bottom side. That's what you're seeing over on the bottom. That's what those units were chasing. But this drop in the main, herO didn't seem to see it at all. So herO is actually just not in position. So this is pretty costly. Straight away, going to be a huge drop in the main that herO now has to run around to deal with. And now you're kind of running from behind, right? And playing from behind like this is going to be tough because already you're going to lose workers. Then you've got a recall in the main. Then ByuN is potentially going to strike elsewhere. Looks like ByuN is going to stand here and trade out with this. Doesn't do anything fancy. Doesn't try and lift up. Just says, yep, you know what? This isn't going to, you know, be too great or crazy or anything. So let's just go from there. 20 probes go down, and that's already fantastic damage. ByuN didn't have to show up anywhere else to really make the most of this or to really do damage. He is 100% fine right now. So, yeah, ByuN looking very good at the moment in this game number 2. I might just tie this up right here because, again, quite frankly, this is a position I don't know if you really kind of get to come back out of as herO, you know? Like, I mean, this is rough, for sure. No doubt about it. Stemming up that ramp again, chasing a few stalkers away. Marine, Marauder, +1 armor, all continuing out. Just going to be seeing ByuN still looking for the way in. I mean, his third CC only just now setting up, so ByuN has had a much later third than you would have usually expected him to, and that's obviously not really why he's been able to do so much damage. The damage came from that drop, right? I mean, that, you know, 2 Medivacs and Marines doesn't exactly decide whether you had enough. And again, these are replays from yesterday, so pauses we don't have to sit through. As our Bio Army is able to just go running on by, and yeah, I don't think that this fight was really ever going to go any differently. Mouse issue or no, this fight was pretty much always going to be ByuN, 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 and absolutely is the case right now as we take down the Zealots. Disruptor, though, will connect. There's only really Stalkers left. There's nothing to really tank the Disruptors, actually. Tank for the Disruptors, or just tank in general, I suppose. I guess the Probes can tank a little bit against these Marauders. The Marauders are just great against everything right now. We do start warping some Zealots. That is kind of what will stop these Marauders, if anything. Coming forward again. The battery goes down. Disrupt the shot. Doesn't quite land on those units there. It's just going to turn around again and just knock down the pylon. All of these Zealots trying to warp in. Just going to be seeing a couple of extra probes going down. 18 workers falling from herO. So once again, just in a horrible eco position. I mean, ByuN's only got 50 SCVs, so he's only ahead by 8. But he's doing the damage to justify being as committed as he has been here. GG says herO. ByuN ties it up 1-1 in this best of 3. Hell yeah. 1-1 has a little bit of a messy series, I think. I really feel like ByuN had more chances in game 1. But I felt like herO could have done... I mean, like, game 2 is just like one drop gets in and the game was kind of decided from there, right? That one drop did everything that needed to be done to wrap things up, basically. So, yeah, here on the top right, our blue Protoss player. ByuN bottom left, our red Terran. Let's see what game 3 has in store for us. Glitter and Ash's big map, so that at least should be kind of fun. We'll see if that has any impact on the way the game plays. One thing you usually say about big maps is obviously if the Protoss can survive and they can build up the carriers, that's kind of nice. herO, not much of a carrier guy, but herO is very much someone who will play to win. And sometimes playing to win just involves, if you get the right chance and the right opportunity, just building the carriers. And like I said, on this map specifically, that's just that much more likely to happen. So herO just going to be, again, straight up aggressive as ByuN straight up proxies in front of herO's base as well. So everyone's just getting feisty from the start. Again, this just keeps on seemingly being the game plan from these guys. And this game is obviously more aggressive than it's been in the previous games as well. So really has just been as feisty as possible across these players at the moment. We do see that gateway coming up, and CV just coming through and getting set up in this map number 3. I don't know how this works out, obviously. I mean, the proxy from herO already just a second gateway just means that there's not gonna, I mean, there's not really much for ByuN to defend with at home. But herO is likely to send his units straight across the map. I mean, I guess this Zealot is gonna see this bunker and will then busy itself with dealing with this, but yeah, I suppose we'll find out shortly how this is gonna turn out. You just have the Reaper showing up. SCV is dealt with, so no bunker in the back of the mineral line. That would have obviously been very annoying to actually deal with, so good to be able to be rid of that from the start. There's a couple probes. We'll continue through. Just dropping down. And yeah. There's that factory finishing up as well. It's just getting that factory completed. Grenade goes down. Probes continue to take some shots. We are going to get rid of one of them here, so Reaper is able to find some damage. Get one more probe, but the full surround from probes. We'll see the end of that Reaper. So bye-bye, Reaper. Good to see you. And yeah, these few SCVs still having to deal with the Stalker. I mean, Widowmine huge in this situation because a Widowmine generally means that units can't run up the ramp without one of them being, you know, committed in to die. So that's very good. This is really, really nice. As I wouldn't mind going off on the Zealot. That is actually the one thing you can do. Obviously, you get rid of the Zealot, and then the Stalkers are still around to chip away at the depot. ByuN, no expansion. Neither herO just yet, but it feels like herO will probably end up expanding much sooner than ByuN will with this pressure on the low ground. I wouldn't mind killed before it can burrow. And at the moment, this supply depot genuinely remains in a pretty huge amount of trouble as well, taking a lot of hits right now. And now some SCVs will begin to go down too. herO just relocating the Stalkers a bit. There is a new Widowmine, but I think you can still sit with high ground vision, even with that Widowmine burrowed in there. So it's kind of nice to see. Full Stalkers come through, just going to go after that factory now, and with extra Stalkers, this might just be the end for ByuN. This becomes so tough to really deal with. And when I say the end, I mean the game's not over, but you're still on one base for such a long period of time. It's hard to imagine how you break out of this one base situation here. It's a really tough spot to be in. So yeah, not really sure what we're going to be planning right now is just have our SCVs going down as well. Adept harassment. I mean, any harass right now from ByuN just feels as though it's just him falling further behind. There's barely any units here as these Adepts show up. They're going to go behind the mineral line, make it harder for the SCVs to deal with this. ByuN just has nothing. He's got a Reaper and 2 mines, and yeah, SCVs continue to have to fight for their life right now, so just not going well at all here. Man, truly awful situation. herO's the one building the base as well. I mean, ByuN is basically reliant on these Banshees to get damage done, but that is such a maybe. There's no guarantee that the Cloak Banshees will bring you back into this. It's just such a big ask, especially when, even if you do some damage, herO has the expansion, right? Like, herO is actually about to be, you know, up in workers no matter what, because he can rebuild workers more easily. So that's a whole new problem. That's a whole extra problem as well. That is something that will also kind of just make ByuN kind of sad. And yeah, I just do not feel like this is going to be one which is going the way of our boy ByuN, unfortunately. Is there a way back in? I mean, it really comes down to the Banshees being very good. Banshee 1 shows up, and there's a battery here. And the Stalkers, and there's an Observer. So, Banshee number 1, not going to be that great. In fact, Banshee number 1 going to take quite a bit of damage because it assumed there might not be an Observer. Or I don't know if it assumed as much as it just risked there being maybe no Observer, saying, well, I'm definitely behind. Let's just pull, let's just take a risk. Let's say, let's hope there's no Observer. If there is, well, yeah, I'm going to get pushed back. I'm not going to have a good time, but if there isn't, maybe I can get the battery and deal some damage, because he's just in that bad of a position. So ByuN is at the point where he says, oh, I just have to take risks now and try and win this out more than anything else. Banshee up the left-hand side. And now we're going into a Raven, which is a bit more typical for the TVP matchup. ByuN down 12 workers at the moment. CC still not quite finished. Still not quite moving down to the low ground, morphing into an orbital. All these things it has to do before it can produce SCVs that really will just remain a problem. Nexus drops down on the third base and will just be a starting point at least for herO to continue to extrapolate his lead in this game, take it out to further and further points, and again, just tough to imagine how the hell ByuN brings this back. Not really sure at the moment. Not really sure at all. Charge is building. So that's on the way out at least, and +1 attack on the way in from ByuN. I mean, that's going to be one of his advantages here. So +1. I guess you kind of hope for some really cool maybe bio drop play, stuff like that. If I had to make a guess, that's really the only way you can kind of make something happen at the moment. Command center in the main base is going to be on the way through. Just going to be having the couple of order mines making their way along. Yeah. I guess a big Widow Mine drop or something would be one way for ByuN to be back in it as well, right? So that's a possibility at least. Has some potential. Like I say, I guess it's not all hope completely gone, but ByuN is definitely playing from behind. He needs some of those big swings to kind of go his way. And if they don't, then he definitely should just be dead. But like I say, it's StarCraft 2. The mistakes can happen. Things can go terribly wrong very quickly. So keeping some faith from my boy ByuN. Get the job done right here. Let's go, ByuN. Let's bring it back. At least let's make a game of it. Only because I don't want this to be super disappointing. That was the medevac and the Widow Mine drop going down, by the way. The Banshees have been extremely patient waiting for their next opportunity. So here they are now making a way in, but they don't find anything either. So no love found there. Again, just the misfortune of not being able to make anything happen at the moment. Unfortunately. Banshee's going to try and go from a different direction. I mean, at this point, you kind of just have to. And this might work if there's no Observer here. That's a lot of probes open for attack. And yeah, this is a mineral line you can actually deal damage on. So this is kind of cool. Big fan of this. Unfortunately, one Banshee goes down. But hey, we got 6 probes at least. I mean, it's something. It's a start for ByuN in a game that was just everything looking horrible for him. This now gives him hope. This now gives him at least a little bit of a shot. His worker count is finally a bit more reasonable. Like I say, you gotta just take whatever you're given in this scenario. Just have a 3rd CC moving out so you can land that. herO's already on his way up to a 4th base. So again, don't get too excited that ByuN's getting a 3rd. It's just something to note at least that kind of takes us in the right sort of direction. Tank's gonna get rid of the gateway from the low ground and that will fall. Obviously, that's been there since the start of the game. This all started off with proxy versus proxy, and it did unfortunately turn into ByuN just being pretty behind from the early stages. So, unfortunately, has been trailing from the very start as extra barracks are producing and trying to just get those numbers up, trying to get that production to a point that is truly a little bit more terrifying right now. See if it might happen as the numbers are. Well, army supply-wise isn't actually in herO's favor. If herO attacks into this, this is 100% ByuN's chance to get back in the game. Because this is not really a situation that should go well for you as herO. He's going to try and warp into the main base. That's definitely one way to help make this work out. But double lip in the main is going to do pretty good work on the Zealots. Buys time for the Bio to get here, and that Prism has to stay away because obviously it's low HP now. And if anything gets in range of it for just a few moments, it will die. So Blood Turrets do get dropped down, helping the initial defense on that third base. That third base army is there once again. herO continues to try and make something of this, so refusing to kind of give it up just because he sees a defensive setup. I mean, he's going to push the base back, I suppose. So, I mean, he was not wrong. He was able to make something of this. So far, so good. SCV count continuing to drop off here, and just going to be having our 10 workers that have fallen. Well, ByuN's still only about 10 workers behind. The problem is herO takes base after base after base, and now like Robo Facility 2 and a Robo Bay coming up. That's the sort of stuff that ByuN can't really deal with. That kind of tech is tech that ByuN just can't be competitive with at all, really. So, yeah, definitely not ideal in that regard, as we have the Medivacs, the Missile Turrets, the Ghost Academy, all of this continuing up right now. Hallucination flies through the main base. A little bit of a poke and prod. He's going to try and go in after this War Prism, try and clean this out, and at least alleviate some of the pressure that herO's been able to apply. Maybe this is what ByuN needs to kind of get back in this game a little bit, right? Maybe this is his chance to just, again, turn this around, get back into things, swing things back in his favor. Could be. Could just be. Fire Force is going to be all collected together there. Got our Colossus just on a bit of a wander. Come around with these few Stalkers, see what happens. I'm going to take down a set of rocks at the very least, so it'll be a starting point. herO's just taking the entire map. We saw him going up to 5 bases, but now he's on 6 bases, and now it starts to get a little bit silly. Like, how many bases are you gonna take, herO? Right? Like how many are we gonna get going here? Right, buddy? Right? It's getting a little bit out of control, and it just makes it feel as though, again, if ByuN is gonna get back in this game, there's so much work to be done. Because again, the army supplies might stay similar, but ByuN needs a fight to be so one-sided in his favor, whereas herO just needs, well, equal fights and he's going to be winning. herO can even trade slightly badly and still be winning. That's why ByuN needs one fight to just go super in his favor, and herO's doing the right thing. He's positioned to deny ByuN's extra bases. By positioning to deny these extra bases, you're basically saying, hey, you can't really do this. This is going to be herO come into the fight. The anti-armor missile's nice. The tanks lasted a little while here, and they put out some initial damage. It's nowhere near enough. Those Colossi are going untouched. And that is going to be an easy clean out from herO. A 15-minute game that kind of felt was somewhat decided in 6 minutes. Just played out until it was done.